Hey, what's up? Here we are on another episode of Bench. This is episode 4. And everybody out there, please follow and subscribe. Allow me to introduce the great Coach Dave Miller. How you feeling today?
Living large. I see it's a new hairdo.
Yes, it is.
You know,
yes,
I mean,
is.
every time we film this, I can't believe we're already on number 4.
Yes.
And you've had a different hairstyle each 4.
Listen, I got a shout out to get the hair sponsors. Come on, holla at us. We really need this.
That's why I wore my hat today. I do not need a hair sponsor. I just need hair.
Listen, I got enough for the both of us. So let's go right into it. Let's talk about this road trip. How do you feel about it? We came out 3-2. What's your perspective of our road trip?
Well, I think the first thing to note is you mentioned 3-2. We're 10-4 overall.
Correct.
So again, we always talk about this. No way did I think they'd be 10-14 with the ingredients that JJ has.
Right.
So very excited. I mean, if you're a Laker fan, you should be extremely excited. But this was like a family vacation. You know, when we go on the road, we always say it's a business trip. But for people that have never been on a team and traveled, let's say it's a family vacation. It started out piss poor. I mean, so you check into the first hotel, and you know there's stains on the comforter, right?
I don't know if they really checked in because it was Atlanta, so they hit the club first, and then they checked in.
Right. So it started off extremely poor, in my opinion, from a basketball standpoint. But it finished as good as it can finish with the Lakers winning back-to-back.
Yeah.
A lot of travel in that back-to-back. When you make that trip from New Orleans till Milwaukee, you get in at about 2:30, 3 o'clock. That's when you get to the hotel.
Right.
I'd say probably 2:30. And there's no way you go to sleep right away. So I thought they handled it really, really well.
Right.
And you only get to know your team when you hit adversity. A lot of teams you say when you hit rock bottom.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, the two most embarrassing games on that road trip was obviously Atlanta.
Yes.
And then, even though Oklahoma City was 12-1 after the game, that's the best team in the NBA, the defending champs. That was embarrassing. So there were 2 embarrassing losses, and it could have went either way. Okay, that ship could have went down, or that ship could have went progressively up. And I give big credit to the coaches on the quick turnaround, especially on the back-to-back, and then to the players for being able to figure out. I mean, you know, that the second game from last, Luka and Austin Reeves combined for 32 points, and we talked about that. That was right around Austin's thing. So you know, it was up and down, but they didn't point fingers. No, and they stayed together, Alan.
No, and I guess my question is, as far as preparing for a back-to-back and how they responded. Let's speak about from your experience. What are some I guess anecdotes that you take from your back-to-back games where in the season, early in the season, late in the season, what were some of the things that you saw the Lakers really respond to in this particular game against the Bucks?
Well, I again wasn't there, so I'll use ours. We would get in, everyone would get to their rooms, and it takes you a while. It takes some take 5 minutes, some take 2 hours to unwind, but get your rest. And then instead of having a breakfast meeting, have a lunch meeting. And in the lunch meeting is where you prepare. But we always did a good job in New Orleans and Oklahoma City, where when you scout teams, you know, I talked about when our college team, USC, had 85 plays. We talked about that the other podcast. You know, and they were all quick hit NBA sets. When you scout play specific, you can't cover everything they're running in that short turnaround. So we always taught concepts. It didn't matter what the name of the play was, but was it a side pick and roll? Was it a 1-5 pick and roll? You know, are they isocentric? And then we would have the film guys break down the film and show what they ran in the opponent's last game. And we do it in order by the number of times they ran the same set. You know, a side pick and roll, right? Dribble right into transition, no go, and they get into it. So instead of teaching how to defend plays, Byron Scott did a great job of teaching how to defend concepts. So it did not matter what the play was, but how are we going to defend? And then the second most important thing that you have to hit, even for the guys we talked about that are students of the game, right? Like Kobe Brown knew what he was going to do before he ever read a scouting report. That's just, those are the elite. Those are, again, guys that have mastered their craft. But especially with new guys, young guys, with this team, personnel. That's the most important. You're going to spend time on, does this post player, does he prefer left shoulder or right shoulder, right? Point guards, when they dribble right, they're trying to get to the cup. When they go left, they're looking to dish, attract a multiple defender and dish, right? Or go to their float game. Right. So those are the little things that you hit. And sometimes when you get in real late, you might not have your shoot around or your pre-shoot around, I should say, at the hotel. You do it at the arena. Right. Because you got to gauge. 14 games, that would have been 13 games in when they had this back-to-back. 13 games, you shouldn't be fatigued. Luka was, I can't wait to go home. I heard him say on the broad at the post game, man, I felt like this road trip was a year. But I think the most important thing is rest, getting guys off their feet, and then keeping it simple. And I think, JJ, like I told you, really good coach. But you got to give credit to the assistants. I don't know whose scout that was. Right. But for against Milwaukee, man, they put a scout together that worked.
They came in charged up. The energy was there early. I believe they were up by 30 before by the half. I know the Bucks kind of came back in the third, but they really came out with a lot of energy, and that was the first time during this road trip that I saw them really come out and be the first one to deliver the first punch.
Spot on, and I like that what you did that because we talked about hitting first and physicality. You can't match a team's physicality when you're not physical. You have to exceed it. And you're right. The first thing I remember just coming into those last two games, their energy, focus, and toughness that you and I always talk about. They came out. In that first quarter, the score was 30-18, so they held them to 18 points. Yes. Going into the half, it was, man, do we need stats? We need stats. We got to get some sponsors. Okay, we want to hire underdog. What was halftime? Halftime was 63-34. Okay, to hold a team with Giannis. And again, I'm not telling you, Milwaukee, again, no stats. They got to be a top 4 team, top 5 team in the Eastern Conference.
They were in a back-to-back, too, coming off an overtime game.
But they're home. They're home, and you have that energy. You slept in your same bed. But to hold them, Allen, to 34 points in the half showed you, number one, that they were on defensively. And I knew right from the start it was going to be a high-energy game.
Ayton played well. I think he was another 20-10 game. He definitely bounced back from during the road trip. He seemed a little sluggish in times, especially against in Atlanta and OKC, but he really bounced back in this game and played well. I guess I got a question is, how do you feel about the pick and roll between him and Luka? Like, I think that has been really flowing well in the last, coming out of this road trip. I think they've really found some chemistry. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I love your takes, man. That's why I was ready to do this podcast at 6 a.m. this morning. I was like, okay, forget working out. Let's get in here.
Let's go.
It's really starting to become organic. It's really starting to happen because DeAndre Ayton isn't your pick and roll guy.
Right.
There's guys in the league, man, that are pick and roll guys. Like, I remember doing a scout one time, and Amari Stoudemire was there. And
a bad man.
And one of the other assistants that was with us, I can't remember, he just used to call him Hellboy. And so, like, we looked at, he's like, okay, well, they're going to run this pick and roll for Hellboy. And finally, I said to him, coming off the court for the shoot around, I said, why do you call him Hellboy? He says, because when he rolls, you better get the hell out of the way. And I never have forgotten that. I think it may have been Kenny Gaddison that came up with that, because he coached our big.
Called him a man child.
Yeah, exactly. So with him, the personnel. Correct. DeAndre Ayton, he likes the short roll. DeAndre Ayton likes, to pick and pop. He's got to work on his 3-game to be able to extend that out. But now, because of all the attention that Luka draws, if somebody doesn't tag him on the backside, he's going to have a field day. And we talked about this. I want DeAndre Ayton with 2 feet in the paint. I
agree.
I want him to score. He's got such a good touch around the basket. And you said it. You summed it up. 20-10. Did not look good at the start of the trip. Yes. I talked about in one segment, like, I don't know. I know we need shooters. I know we need 3 and D guys. I know we need length and athleticism. And it was too early for me to say we need a pit bull that's a big that is going to block shots, that's going to alter shots, it's going to patrol as a center fielder. And I saw that in the last two games. His role was against the Bucks, defend Giannis, which is a huge task.
Huge ask.
Okay, and that's why he got into foul trouble, or he would have had more than 20 and 10.
Yeah.
But was to defend Giannis, okay, to be physical with Giannis, to rebound, which he did. 10 rebounds, I'll take that any night of the week, and then to be able to move the ball. You know, if it's not there, take what the defense gives you. So I really thought. If you were to ask me who was the star of the trip,
okay, yeah.
I'm going to give my flowers. I'm going to put some money in his bag. DeAndre Ayton was my star. Now, I know this. If my kids were in here with us, my one son would say, "What are you talking about?" And probably some people listening. You know, you're talking about Luka, who dropped 41.
Right.
But Luka can do that every single night. I expect Luka, with the exception, you know, of him and AR having a bad night, in that second to last game, you're going to have those. But Luka is Luka. He's your star. DeAndre Ayton proved to me that this team could be really good defensively. They got back. They got turned.
Yes.
You know, a lot of times I talk about defense, but in that first quarter, and maybe even the first half, LA did a great job of executing their offense, getting high percentage shots and having the floor balance. What people don't understand is when you take quick shots, your defense isn't set. So now the other team on a miss can run out. And some good teams that really run can run on a make. Right? Those are the really good teams. I thought LA did a great job of executing the offense, having good floor balance, and when a shot got up, they sprinted back like someone stole their lunch money.
Yeah.
Right? They're trying to get you at the, headed to the cafeteria when you were in middle school, and that's what set up the good defense to hold a Bucks team to 18 points in the half, 18 points in the first quarter, 34 in the half. But DeAndre Ayton was my star.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing I didn't like, and I tried to count this up on the way coming over in my mind, I think he had 17 turnovers. And if not, DA, I'm sorry. But again, he hadn't got me a sponsor yet. Okay, so there's no computers here, and the camera doesn't go to him, so I can quick look down on the set. But I think he had like 17 turnovers. That's way too many.
Yeah.
Okay, on a trip. So he'll get used to playing with the guys, and that's got to get better.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my star to Rocho. I definitely got to give it to Luka, man. He's scoring a point every minute at this point of his season, and that's Wilt Chamberlain-esque. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely got to give it to him. Also to JJ to really steer this team together throughout this road trip, where early on we kind of saw them, I feel, mentally not be focused on the game, and then to go up against a juggernaut like OKC. That definitely was a reminder or a benchmark of where they need to get to by the end of the season, and to end off with 2 wins and one especially against the Bucks, who is a top seeded team on the East and has Giannis in the middle. It's a great road trip, and I think JJ really showed his coaching ability by getting us back on track and keeping that championship mentality where you never lose 2 games in a row. And I think with that mentality, we're going to be all right. And being that we're the 4th seed in the West, I think we're in good position to continue to move forward and maybe get to that number 2 or 3 spot by the end of the season.
I like that take because it's easy to splinter. It's easy to point fingers, right? Everyone on the floor is wondering why this, why that. And again, I take it always back to Duke because it's a brotherhood. And I think that's what he has with this team. And I'll talk a little bit later on how tight I think this team is and how close this team is, even in this 4th podcast. Yeah. But that's a credit to the coaches, and where I gave the star of the trip to Ayton, I'm going to tell you what I'm really seeing in this trip, and it was great early on to go on that 5-game road trip. I'm seeing leadership qualities coming out of Luka. I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that he's trimmer, he's slimmer, he's defending a little bit better because he can move his feet, he's covering space, he's trying to defend. But what I'm seeing is leadership. What I'm seeing is him talking to guys out on the floor. When he got here last year, it's just like a kid, you move with your parents and you go to a new school.
Right.
You're a little bit quiet. You're the man on campus.
Trying to fit in.
Yeah. And you don't want to come in and just take over that campus.
Right.
And I'm just talking as a student, as a middle schooler. And, that's what he did. He wanted to walk softly.
Right.
But by Darwinism, which is survival of the fittest, he's had to take that leadership role.
Yeah.
And I think that's helping him, but more importantly, I think that's helping JJ's culture.
Yeah. Speaking of culture, Bronny started while LeBron was assigned to the G League.
Okay, that's not culture. Austin Reeves got a big kick
But
out of that.
isn't that? I mean, that's just fascinating. Just to have that sort of flip flop is pretty cool. And speaking of LeBron James, he's close to returning. We have a game Tuesday. He may return there. What's your thoughts on him returning there, or waiting till after that game, which he has extra 4 days to rest?
It's a week.
It's a week. So from your perspective, what would you decide for LeBron and whether to come back Tuesday or wait those extra games?
I think you might have a bug in my car because driving over here, I was on the phone with Michael Thompson, Klay Thompson's dad.
Okay.
And I was talking to MT, and we were just talking about the trip. We were talking about, just a bunch of basketball things. We were talking about Klay Thompson and where he's going to end up. And we got on the subject of LeBron, and I was like, this is really good. I said, LeBron's doing good. From what I've heard, there's been no trouble. There's been no soreness. Everything is going, A-OK.
Right.
And I said, it'll be good. They play Tuesday. They play against the Jazz. They don't need him. So that gives him, they play Tuesday, and then they don't play again till Sunday. So if he practices on Monday, he keeps practicing with the G League team. And MT's like, man, if he's good to go, play him. And I thought that was interesting because that's coming from the mind of a Showtime Laker.
Right.
That's coming from an NBA champion, someone that was coached by not only the great Pat Riley, but coached by the late great Jack Ramsey in Portland. And, you talk about not just winning championships and being a Showtime Laker. Yeah. And remember, Michael Thompson was the #1 pick of the NBA draft.
Yes, he was.
Came to LA to be a sub.
Yeah.
Came to LA to be a backup.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was to Kareem, right? I think I would have done that too. But big shout out to Michael Thompson. His thought was, if he's ready to go, play him. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Lakers do, because that's a decision that's made by LeBron.
Correct.
Because you always go on what the player feels, the training staff. Then you got to talk to the G League coaches, and then the Laker main coaches have to get together. So it'll be really interesting. I'm going to go to the game. I mean, I go to most of them.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to go to the game on Tuesday just in case he does play.
So do you think it would be best for him to, as from, like I said, from a coach, if you were making that decision, what would you decide?
Well, I guess from what I told Michael Thompson is I would have him sit out and go one more week.
Got you.
Because, again, I'm not discounting or discrediting the Utah Jazz, but the way this team is playing right now, it's not like they're, with the 14 games, it's not like they're 2-12.
Right.
And we have to get him back. We want him back.
Right.
Right? The fans want him back. The guys on the court want him back. But if I can get him one more week where he's just continuing to get better.
This is his 23rd season.
Yeah, it's I was just going to say, it's maybe my way of doing load management without doing load management, in the sense that I want him to be perfect, and he's continuing. Now he's 5-on-5.
Right.
Because you can't replicate nor duplicate. You can't get on a bike. I told you, I don't believe in rust. I don't believe that when LeBron gets back, he's going to miss 6 shots and everyone's going to say, oh, he's rusty. BS. You can either shoot or you can't.
Yeah.
You can either play the piano in Carnegie Hall or you can play it in your house. It's the cardio that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's every day you don't work out what your body is used to working out. And you know this as a runner. We've talked about this.
Yes,
you miss a day, your cardio drops. You miss a week, man, you're winded. But there's no rust in, well, we have to fit in and we have to play together. Me and you can go to Venice Beach to the courts where they film White Man Can't Jump, and that's true, and get 3 guys, and if they know how to play, we can run it. We can beat all those young guys.
Yeah.
They're faster, they're quicker, they jump higher, but old head, if you know how to play, you know how to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, we got a nice stretch of games coming up. I guess a fairly easy schedule. What's your take on the next 5 games? Like, how do you feel the Lakers will end up after or when LeBron James comes back after this? If not Tuesday, but the game after that.
It's the first time that I can tell you I don't have an answer for that in terms of how are they going to be, because as a coach, my main concern is, when do we get LeBron back? So maybe it's opposite what I thought. Maybe he does get some run on Tuesday night versus the Jazz. But then my whole thing is, and John Wooden was great with this. I worked with Henry Bibby, and I would pick his brain all those years. And John Wooden wasn't worried about the opponent. John Wooden very seldom ever talked about the opponent that they were playing.
Okay.
He talked about his team. And I sort of picked up on that after leaving Henry, is like, I'm worried about my team. If my team is prepared, if my team is ready to go. So as a coach of the Lakers, my biggest concern is, when does he get back? When do we put him in the game? And then how does this thing flow?
Right.
Because as much as I say rust isn't a factor, he's got to get in there and he's got to find out, okay, why are they playing so well? Well, when they're playing well, the ball is moving.
Right.
Great players like him can demand the ball in ISO, and we talked about that.
Right.
When some players get the ball, 4 other guys stand there flat-footed, and it not only kills your offense, it goes back to what I said about what was well against the Bucks. It will ruin your transition defense.
Correct.
And why the Lakers had such good defense against Milwaukee, and yes, I know, I'm not stupid. Milwaukee missed a lot of shots, but the Lakers had a lot to do with that. So when you miss it, when you miss the shot, that basket gets like this.
Yeah.
When you make a shot, boom, boom. That basket gets so big. And I always tell kids this at my camps. 2 regulation basketballs anywhere in the world can fit through a rim. So if you bring me a rim and you bring 2 basketballs and it's right here, 2 balls fit through that rim at the same time. So I'm telling you, all you got to do is get it up and over on the rim. Your hand is a fishing rod. Get it, bend, extend, get your elbow above your eyebrow, put your hand in the rim, the front end of the fishing pole, and you get it up and over. You got a chance.
Yeah.
You got a chance to make the shot. So I don't know what their record's going to be after that. My concern is getting him back into the lineup and now getting a chemistry.
Correct.
It's not about changing games. It's about getting into the flow. And I've said this all along. He's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. It's going to be a minute before all of a sudden he starts to feel good. He's not going to adjust. The other 4 players have to adjust.
Right.
But he's got to find that rhythm. And
I guess, how many games do you think it's going to?
2 or 3.
2 or 3? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he'll forget more basketball than most coaches will know. I really mean that. I mean, think about it. He's been in the spotlight since 8th or 9th grade. Right?
Yes.
Everybody has followed him. There's never been a situation in basketball that he hasn't lived thousands and thousands of times.
I agree.
And, I mean, you listen to him and Steve Nash. You listen to him and JJ. I don't think LeBron's ever going to be a coach. He's much too smart to be a coach, right?
He gonna own something. He gonna own something.
LeBron is going to own a team. LeBron is going to put together a team. And the thing about LeBron doing that is he's going to surround himself with people that he trusts and that make decisions, and then they all come together and they powwow. But he's going to be able to put teams together, and he's going to be able to go down. Pat Riley did it with Spo early on. You know, I mean, I don't know if that's, you know, open knowledge, but if you were Spo, why wouldn't you talk to Pat Riley every day? All of a sudden you get named the coach. Now, Spo has developed into a Hall of Fame, Olympic. Coach. Yeah, I mean, one of the best coaches in the NBA right now. But when you have a resource like that, boom, you'd be crazy not to use it. And with LeBron knows every team, every player. I would guess he knows where most guys played in college.
Correct.
And you know, back when I was Lakers 82 games a season, I could tell you all that, who their AAU coach was. Oh, wow. You know, how they played in the Peach Jam. I mean, because that's your life.
Right.
Man, you eat, sleep, and basketball is your everything. And that's what the great ones do.
Yeah. Okay, so now with this, like I said, leading into the road, I mean, wrapping up the road trip, and now that they get some home cooked meals, how's this first game against the Jazz? What's your prediction on how they're going to come out? Coming home from this road trip against getting the opportunity to sleep in their own beds. This could be, I know you hate hearing this word, a trap game.
No, it's not a trap game.
Because it's the Jazz.
If you know it, it's not a trap.
A lot of people fall for traps that they know is coming. You know, we do it all the time.
Did the Roadrunner ever get caught in a trap?
But Wile E. Coyote did, and he was setting the trap. That's my point. That's my point right there.
I love you, Alan.
With the Jazz coming up, I guess, what is your take? What do you prepare them for to get ready for this next game? I know they just came off this great win with the Bucks. They can't fall asleep because the West is that tight. We need every game. What's your prediction against the Jazz?
It's so funny that we hardly know each other. We know each other for, I guess the first podcast was an hour. Yeah. The second and the third were 45, 47 minutes. And I don't know how long we've been going. Yeah. That's as long as we know each other.
I know.
I mean, I said this in the first one. I know you from TV. I know you from movies. I know you from commercials. You know, big fan of yours.
Everywhere,
but I don't. Yeah. I don't know you, and you're really tuned in. Like, I knew we were gonna have fun.
Thank you.
I knew you were gonna have a different hairstyle. I knew you were gonna come fresh and funky every time.
And then keep going, Coach.
Well, I look up and you're skeet shooting the other morning, and there's clay pigeons going up, and you're like, you know, and then the next thing I know, you're painting at Venice Beach, and I mean, you're worldly, but you have a good take on basketball, and you have a good take on the field, because the biggest fear as a coach coming off that road trip is now you get home and you have bills in the mailbox. For those of them that have wife and kids,
got family.
You got all your family, girlfriends, whatever it may be. Everybody's going to occupy your time from the moment you got up this morning. You know, so you got in late last night, okay, and you got some sleep, and the minute you get up, everybody that loves you needs your attention. So some guys can handle that, some can't. So usually when you come home and it's that first game, you have one day off. They won't have off, but they'll go light. Now you're worried about who's going to be on the same page and who's in tune and who's a little bit unfocused, you know, because all of a sudden you get home, man, and people don't think about this. There's a leak in the bathroom. There's a sink that's leaking. So you got to call the plumber. And everyone thinks you got assistants and all the people that do this. Some don't. So you have so much stuff going on. So you have to guard against that. But the key is going to be, and the coaches have nothing to do with this because they don't see them today. And they'll see them at practice, whether it's a light practice, whether it's a film session. And I know JJ is really big, I'm assuming, on showing film, the good and the bad, because he is a teacher of the game. You know, who's going to digest it, and then who comes ready to pick up where it started off. And what do I mean by pick up? You said it. energy, focus, and toughness, coming out and hitting first.
Yes.
Is your defense going to be quiet, or is it going to be talkative like it was, championship communication like it was against the Milwaukee Bucks? Like I said, they struggled to shoot the ball, but they're pros.
Yeah.
Pros can struggle and still, Luka struggled that game, and, I don't know how they combined.
18 from 20 for free throw.
Well,
9 for 19.
that was the Bucks game.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm talking about the game before when him and Austin Reeves struggled. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
To go to the free throw line 20 times and make 18, and then shout out to the Lakers. They shot 91% from the free throw line in that game, and they had been struggling. That was the thing. Turnovers, they had too many. That's got to come down. But no, it's just human nature. And then here's the other thing you have to combat. You come back and it was successful. Any road trip, when you can come back over 500 is a success. Now everybody's patting your back. Your agent's patting your back. Your buddies are patting your back. Your entourage, if you have one, is patting your back. So it lets your guard down. The great coaches, again, don't know Spoelstra, but I know the culture.
Yeah.
I know players that played for Pat Riley and played for him.
Yeah.
We talked about this. You keep them on the edge of their seat. We talked about it. You keep them on the edge of your seat, and you're like, well, Coach, are they walking on eggshells? No, they're not walking on eggshells, but we didn't do anything. As a matter of fact, you know what we did?
Yeah.
We peed down our leg. We should have been 4-1. That's the sermon.
I agree.
You said we were going to be 4-1.
Listen, we were supposed to win.
Who said we were going to be 3-2? Yeah,
listen. We were supposed to win that OKC game. I knew we was gonna lose to Atlanta. I knew that. I knew it. The city of Atlanta never fails.
Okay.
I know that.
However, as we digress, I told you we were going to be 3-2. You thought we were going to be 4-1. Mm-hmm. So I'm going in there saying, "Hey guys, it's after the fact. We didn't play well. Mm-hmm. We didn't come ready to play. And you know what? You say this." We might have played well in spurts, but we would have had to play the best game of our lives, and OKC would have had to play down to the competition, which they never do, to win that game.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, man, I'm not satisfied. 3-2 is great. At least it's not that. We embarrassed ourselves twice.
Yeah.
Let's get another streak going. And I don't know if JJ does this, but Byron Scott did this, and I thought it was ingenious. He went in 5-game blocks in New Orleans and Oklahoma City. So we looked at 5 games, the entire season. We went every 5 games and wanted to have a winning record in those 5-game segments. And it reminded me what we did in college, not so much in records, but in college games, your timeouts are, 16, 12, the TV timeout, 16, 12, 8, and 4 is a guaranteed TV timeout.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you can call it, or when there's a dead ball, the refs call it so they can pay the bills. They can pay the advertisements.
Right.
So to me, those were 4-minute games. And as an assistant, I kept stats on my clipboard. 4-minute games, the score, and then our defensive efficiency. And so I'd say, okay, we won the first 4-minute game. Okay, that's good. Say we were getting our butt beaten. Say it was at Arizona or at UCLA, where that usually happened right out the gate, because they hit you in the mouth.
Right.
They great crowds and great teams and great coaches. So okay, we lost that 4-minute game. Let's win this next 4-minute game, so that there's always a game within the game. And then some nights when you're getting your butt beat, okay, you're getting your butt beat, and you got 8 minutes to play, and the guys, their body language is terrible. Say, no, let's win these last 2 4-minute games, and it works. So that's the game within the game.
So. You predict a win or a loss against the Jazz?
Oh, I think for sure they're going to win.
I think we'll get it done.
And again, the Jazz isn't a team that I'm going to say where they're going to finish. It's going to be down low.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no doubt in my mind. But they're pros, Alan. They're pros.
No, I know. I know.
And
That's what makes me nervous.
The Atlanta Hawks did not beat the Lakers. A G League team beat the Lakers.
Atlanta beat the.
Well, wait a second. I'll do this.
Atlanta.
I'll do this on camera, on air. I'll give you $1,000 right now if you can tell me the 5 starters for Atlanta.
That ain't gonna happen.
Thank you.
That ain't gonna happen. Yeah, you gonna keep that 1,000.
You know what? When my kids watch this, they're gonna be, thank God Allen didn't do that, because Christmas would have been slim.
Yeah.
But you get my point.
I do.
And again,
I do.
I'm not disrespecting those guys because they're in the NBA and you and I aren't.
I do.
But,
Right.
But the Utah Jazz, you come in and think you're all that and a bag of chips. They will beat you.
That's what we gotta be. We gotta be focused. We can't let this game slip away. Like I said, the Western Conference is a juggernaut, and we need every W. So yeah, like
let me interrupt you for a second. It made me think.
Well,
because you're such a Laker fan. In the Kobe era, what was the team out west that no matter what their record was, that the Lakers went and usually lost to?
Oh, that was it was Denver.
Charlotte. No, that's Midwest.
Oh, I was about to say because that
Right,
altitude.
but Denver was good. Denver was good.
Yeah.
And that altitude is real.
Yeah, that altitude.
Okay. It was Charlotte. It was Charlotte.
Yeah.
Every time. And another one before it got going was Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm doing the Laker pregame show. And it was either with Steve Mason or Dave Shore. And we're doing our pregame show from the studio.
Okay.
And LA is on the last game of a 5-game road trip. It could have been even longer. And whoever the host was asked me, who's going to win the game? And I said, Cleveland. And John Ireland was on, we had him from the booth there. And he called me, he calls everybody an idiot, but he said, Dave, you're an idiot. And I said, what? Now, I've never really had anybody call me an idiot.
To your face.
Oh, they've called me worse behind. But like on air, I've never had anybody call me an idiot. And I said, John, and I didn't want to out him.
Yeah, right.
I never pull you've never coached, you've never played, you've never been on a team. And he knows sport, he knows basketball. I love him.
Well, what you do,
But
Coach?
I'm like, they're going to lose. He said, let me get this right. He said, I'll quit my job and I'll walk home from Cleveland if the Lakers lose.
Did he walk home from Cleveland?
Hell no. Hell no. No, but we did do something good with an autism walk where when he got back, he walked.
Okay.
And he raised a lot of money. But you know what? But you know what?
Yeah.
I could have been a stickler, and you just said on air.
Yeah.
Every Laker fan heard him say, I'll quit and I'll walk home.
Right.
And he's my friend.
Yeah.
Truth be told, he probably helped me get that job in the pregame show, right? Because I used to be on Mason and Ireland talking NBA.
Right.
But the point of the matter is, if Cleveland can beat the Lakers,
and
they were bad, the Utah Jazz can beat the Lakers if you don't come prepared. And again, you got to be on the edge of your seat, man.
Yeah.
JJ's paranoia is at an extreme. Let me check that. I've coached with most of the guys I've coached with the exception of 2, didn't have that type of paranoia. But the rest, it's a paranoia, man, of just losing that game because competitors, most guys love to win.
Yeah.
JJ Redick and a bunch of other guys in this league, they hate to lose. That's what makes them good.
Yeah. So what about yourself? Was it the desire to win, or was it the dissatisfaction of losing? What was it for you as a coach?
I just hated to lose. And in college, it was different because I'm recruiting guys. So when you play Arizona, and if they beat you by 30, the Arizona coaches are sending the articles out to the kids that you're recruiting because they're coming in to L.A. and they're trying to steal kids out of our backyard. Or when I was at Arizona State, oh my gosh.
And how treacherous? Like how treacherous is that? Is that just regular?
Oh, that's Sunday.
Nothing.
That's Sunday niceness.
That's nothing in the college game.
You have no idea. That's no. I'm not. We can't go there.
You almost had a flashback there, Coach. What's going on?
A million. I'm starting to get my head starting to get sweaty under this hat.
Maybe not talking about college.
But mine was always the hate to lose, and in college you played. Okay, we'll go to the Pac-10, which was the Pac-12, which is now the No 12.
Yeah.
Okay. I always thought you played Thursday and Saturday. If we were ever going to lose, I always wanted to lose that first game. Like on a road trip, you had travel partners. It was us in UCLA, Arizona State, Arizona, Washington State. You get it.
Gotcha.
Okay, I always thought, well, if we're going to lose, let's play Arizona on Thursday. And get our butt whipped so that on Saturday we can beat Arizona State. And now we start Sunday, Monday, we start that freshness on a win. But there were days when at SC, and our house was right across the street from Pacific Elementary School, right off Manhattan Beach Boulevard. I didn't want to leave the house. Like, our front yard was a playground. That's where my kids, we had a half court in the backyard, but in the front yard was a basketball court.
Right.
And the front door was the barn door where it opened halfway. And so we just opened the door and could hear the kids,
right.
and was hoping they didn't get kidnapped, on someone leaving the beach. But I would not leave the house. I would not, if we lost on a Saturday, I would not go out to eat Saturday night. I would leave the house Sunday to go grocery shopping. I wouldn't leave the house. And then Monday morning, I'd get in the car at like 5:30 in the morning and drive to Heritage Hall because it was dark and no one, you slip into your office and then you're just figuring out who the next opponent is. So I hated to lose. And when you won, it was just like, okay, we survived, because every coach knows that you're just a couple games or you're a couple crazy things that could happen in college. You're getting fired.
And what was the thing that kept you up the most? Like, or was it a team? Was it a player? Was it just even the idea of like your team not responding to something? What as for a coach at that level, what is keeping you up at night the most?
How did we not put our team in a position to win? Breaking down every possession of offense. Every offensive set we run, we'd have a breakdown so that the coaches, like I'd be in charge. In the NBA, I had the point guards in New Orleans. So Chris Paul, Gennaro Pargo, Bobby Jackson, and probably missing one or two others. But with USC, the bigs, Scalabrini, Clancy. So I wanted to go through every clip, good and bad. But it was just the paranoia of knowing that I didn't do a good job.
Right.
I didn't do a good job. I know kids are going to miss, pros and college guys are going to miss shots, and you're going to miss defensive assignments. Nobody can keep their man in front every possession down the floor.
Right.
But did we shrink the floor? Did we know what the calls were? Did we make this adjustment when something defensively does not go right? Why didn't I suggest something to Henry Bibby or whoever the head coach would be? Tom Penders at Texas, who was a great offensive coach and made great adjustments. So that's what kept me up after a loss, was going through every possession and watching the tape. I mean, there were nights we'd get back. The players would take the bus from the airport. The guys would get back to the dorms, and we all, as a coaching staff, would stay there. We wouldn't go home, and we'd be up all night watching tape until conditioning the next morning. At 6:30, or weights. At 6:30, because there's the players win games, but our job is to make sure that they know everything about the opposing team, and then everybody that they could possibly guard. And that's the fun of being a coach.
Here we are again. Everyone out there, please follow and subscribe to Benched, because this is our segment right here. Who you benching this week, Coach?
Simple one this week. Watching the end of the Laker-Bucks game. Did you notice the little, I won't say it was an altercation, but all of a sudden, Vando is smart enough to grab the basketball. Now, we all know why he grabbed the basketball.
Yes.
Wanted to give it to the rookie.
To the
rookie.
His first points.
Right? Scored 4 points.
Yes.
Everybody does it. So he's got the ball. And a referee named Pat Frere.
Not Pat.
Walks over, and Pat wants to take the ball. Now, Vando's got the ball under his arm.
Yeah, I seen it.
And Frere puts his hand on the ball and wants to pull it. And I'm sort of reading lips, but I'm watching body language.
Yeah.
At no time was Vando disrespectful from what I saw.
Nope.
And then a couple other guys walk over. Jake LaRavia walks over. I think eventually Luka walks over. And Giannis goes by as he's shaking hands, if my memory's right from watching it live. And they're talking about the ref wants the ball.
Yeah.
First of all, and then someone said to me today when I was walking down at the beach, we talked about this. He asked what I thought, and I'm telling him what I'm going to say here on air. He goes, well, maybe there's a protocol. There's no protocol. You're the ref. You're supposed. A great ref is invisible.
Yes.
Okay? For the entire 4 quarters, a great ref, 3 refs should be invisible. That's how you know it's a great called game. What did he have going in his mind that he was going to take the ball?
Yeah, no, that sucked, man. That sucked
And then then it gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
Now Lakers security comes over, then Luka comes over.
It gets
but you
crazy.
know what? Lakers security is there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the ref takes the ball and walks over and gives it to a Bucks personnel. I think it was a gal. I don't know, what her job description was. Hands her the ball. And then all of a sudden, man, Giannis walks over, and Giannis takes the basketball and hands it to Luka.
Yeah.
So you know what? That's where I said early on in the podcast, that's a team that's connected. That's a team that they don't like each other. They already love each other.
Yeah.
That's a brotherhood. But Pat Frere, you got benched. That was not nice. Actually, Pat Frere, technical foul.
Oh, you giving him a tech?
And you're out of here.
Oh.
Now, what's your benching segment?
All right. This week's bench is it's going out to Draymond. Sorry to Draymond. You gotta get benched. The little situation with Wembanyama dunked on you effortlessly. It was a great attempt. And the reason I'm benching him is not because of the effort of him trying to guard Wemby, but the fact that this is a time as a legendary technical foul person that you are, Draymond, to use that. I need elbows. You used to kicking people in the groins. You right there. I just thought that this was a perfect time to use one of those techs, and you didn't, Draymond. So I got to bench you because you're not playing aggressive enough. I need you to keep your average up. And
Average
don't
of
ever
his techs?
Yeah, he got to keep his average up, you know what I'm saying? And make sure that he respects you in there, because that's why he got crazy at you to end. So I need you to get that tech next time, Draymond. And for now, you're benched.
You heard it. Pat Frere, you're out of here.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. This wraps up another episode 4. Everybody out there, please follow and subscribe. Please comment below. Listen, if you agree with our bench or if you disagree with Draymond or Wemby or what's the ref's name?
Pat Frere.
Our Pat Frere. Yo, peace out, y'all.